start off with an understanding of honesty and what is it going to take to have honesty. And when it comes down to having honesty with others, it becomes an easy situation. It's easy to tell the truth, stop fucking lying, do the shit you said you're going to do. Once you start getting into that pattern and behavior of not trying to lie, not even white fucking lies, it gets real easy. It gets real easy. Now, what gets difficult is actually catching yourself. And what gets really, really difficult is the ability to be honest with yourself, to stop fucking lying to yourself, stop developing stories inside of what you're trying to accomplish, stop fucking the blame, stop the victim mentality, stop all this bullshit and understanding that you're not being honest with yourself. So that's where, someone like Jocko, when he talks about extreme ownership, the importance of extreme ownership comes through honesty, being honest with yourself and fucking owning the shit that you do, and then being aware of communicating that to others. This holds very true when it comes to your body. The ability to be honest with yourself, to develop the skills you want to develop the body you want to develop the strength you want to develop, all that shit comes down to being honest, right? The biggest thing that I can tell when a man is fucking lying is when he tells me, hey, I want to get stronger, but I don't want to hurt myself with the barbell. Well, then don't hurt yourself. Just understand what it means to use a barbell without hurting yourself. Oh, I would snatch, but the snatch is dangerous and it's bad for my shoulders. Well, no, you're bad for your shoulders, and the snatch doesn't really like you. Fuck you. So it's an understanding of taking ownership of it, right? So again, if you just say, hey, I don't like cardio and I don't want to do cardio, is very different than saying, well, I'm too big for cardio, and so therefore I don't do cardio because I'm going to injure myself. No, you're big, and so therefore you don't want to do it because it hurts. So what could you do to allow for yourself to do it if your goal is to get smaller or to lose weight or to feel better and become healthier? Again, all of this is set on this concept and an idea of being honest with yourself and being honest with the stories that you tell yourself. That is how you start getting into a better fitness program. That's actually how you start training more. That's actually how you start eating better. It's all based off of your ability to communicate that honesty to you, not to anybody else. Not to anybody else. Like, you don't need fucking accountability partner. You don't need someone that's going to hold you accountable. What you do need is to hold yourself accountable to be honest. Now, that being said, perhaps you're going to need a beginning accountability to being honest with yourself. So somebody that catches you lying to yourself and kicks you in the dick and says, hey man, you're lying to yourself. You can do this. You should do this. You want to do this. This is what you said you wanted to do. This is what you set out to do. Same thing with like goals or targets, right? Goals is one of the biggest things that I see people not being honest with themselves. They set this goal and then they try to acquire it, when in turn they weren't honest with themselves when they wanted to acquire it. There was no why behind it. There was no real reason for that goal. Oh, I thought it was a nice goal because I wanted to get stronger. Well, why do you want to be stronger? Well, I want to be stronger because I want to lift more weights. Well, why do you want to lift more weights? Or I want to be more physically fit, or I want to get better at CrossFit. Well, why do you want to get better at CrossFit? So there has to be a why behind it. In order for you to develop, there has to be honesty behind the why, not some bullshit, superficial and surface level type of answer. It has to be very fucking in depth. So you must look into this concept of being honest with yourself, and then you must catch yourself lying to yourself and not being honest with yourself. Then from there, once you start to get into this process, now you can actually start to develop inside of your fitness endeavor. You can start to develop inside of your ability to become more physically fit. Now you can start acquiring those goals through the process of being honest. Because really, if you're honest with yourself, you should really think about 1 year of hitting all your goals. What would that look like to be honest with yourself so much that the goals are so simple, or at least so attainable, that I set this up and I achieve all my fucking goals? Because what happens is that men will set goals and will fail at their goals and come short of their goals and teach themselves maladaptation. So they'll teach themselves to produce failure inside of acquiring a goal. They'll teach it. They'll teach it themselves. do it time after time after time again until they stop making goals and stop making an ability to reach them. Now, if you were to honest with yourself and you don't reach it and you tell yourself, hey, you know what? I just came up short because X, Y, and Z, and I can do it again and actually hit it. Okay, there you go. Or, hey, you know what? I'm actually wanted to do this, but it's 100%. And really, I'm at 50% right now. So I should just shoot for 70% next quarter. Boom, there you go. So having this honesty with yourself starts to develop this consistency of hitting goals, consistency of showing up. Consistency is the key to your efficiency. So the more efficient you become, the more consistent you become, and then it works like this fucking snowball. And a good snowball just starts acquiring shit more and more. And when it comes down to it, a man's consistency shows a man's honesty. So your consistency shows how honest you truly are. Because if you're consistent at acquiring goals or you're consistent at doing shit you said you were going to do, therefore, that means that you're an honest individual and I can trust you. You tell me you're going to do something, you don't fucking do it, then you're not really honest with yourself. And you're not honest with yourself, there's a high probability you're not honest with other people. So again, if you are honest with yourself, you're consistent with yourself. If you have consistency, you have honesty. So find that honesty with yourself, have those hard conversations, and find those realistic goals that are attainable, not always hitting 80%, 90% of them, but actually, what does it look like to attain 100 to 105% of all your goals for 1 year? All right.